Hello, darlings. Welcome to another episode of Look What Meg Found. My little crafty heart is so excited to bring you this one. I am in love. Not gonna lie. I connected with Nerds with Needles a while ago. They are a Canadian company, but I can tell you their shipping speed and cost to the United States is incredible. So, do not let the fact that they're a Canadian company stop you from going and getting yourself amazing yarn. Now, I'm a yarnie. I have been working with yarn since I was 5. I'm well past 5 now. And I am obsessed with hand-dyed, high-quality yarns. I have dabbled in yarn dyeing. I know what the steps that go into making what they do, and I'm floored with what they do. They have taken a kind of standard thing that people do and really elevated it to a new level with their techniques, what they do, how they do it, and they're just killer. I love them to death. This is made from one skein. Now, this makes me happy. I'm all about the one skein projects. I like projects. I can buy a skein of yarn, start to finish. The whole thing is done. It is a very long scarf. It is an open work scarf, but I live in an area where I don't want a thick, chunky one all the time. The stitch definition on this is incredible. There's not a lot of fuzz. And when I washed it, this is something that anyone who works with hand-dyed yarn knows. When you wash it, you expect some color bleed. You do. It's just the nature of hand-dyed yarn. I can tell you there was very, very little bleed in the first wash. And when I rinsed it, there was none. So they really do a good job in prepping the yarn to get it to you. Now, when you order, it comes like this. This is their Spunky Punky colorway. I really, really like this color. I know that my camera is a little bit off and this looks coral, but it's actually a very, very hot pink. It's an electric pink. This is more of a teal than a royal blue, but I adore this yarn. This is a fingering weight. So it is a very, very fine weight. It makes great socks, great scarves. And when you work with this, it is not a splitty yarn. If you are a yarnie, you get this. When you're working with something this fine, you are working with fine needles and fine hooks, whether you knit, crochet. And one of the biggest frustrations that we come across when we work with yarn is that the yarn becomes splitty. And you go to use your tools and the yarn splits in half, and that makes things frustrating. This yarn does not split. I've done it both knit and crochet because yarn behaves completely differently depending on what you're using it for. Crocheted, it comes up absolutely phenomenal. I am in love with the scarf. Unfortunately, the heat index here is topping out over 100, so it is too hot to wear it outside. But my husband laughs because I wear this thing all the time inside. It's a very soft yarn. This is their sock yarn. It is a fingering weight sock yarn. So it is superwash merino wool and nylon, so that this can go in the washing machine. If you know me at all, you know that things have to be able to go in the washing machine. I am not a neat and tidy person. I am the queen of I can get food on my shirt by looking at food, let alone trying to eat it. This colorway, this one right here, the Spunky Punky, is done. It is the coolest thing. When they dye this, they use sponges to apply the color so that you get a very clean bleed. There's no massive stop point. This color stops here. This color starts here. It all flows together beautifully. This one is mermaid. Now, I am a mermaid at heart. I absolutely adore all things mermaid. This one is a dip dye, and you can tell when you're using it because there's a gentle gradient between the colors. The colors fade from one color to the next. This is, again, their sock weight or fingering weight, depending on which part of the world you live in. This is a nylon and the words, y'all. This is nylon and superwash merino. Again, completely safe to go in the washing machine. And it feels really good. A lot of people tell me they're leery of buying the superwash merino yarns because they don't know how it's going to feel after they're done working with it. It's awesome. Now, what I did with the mermaid, like I said, I told you guys I did both knit and crochet because you need to see both sides of this because it does behave differently. Let me get this to focus. The stitch definition that this yarn can come up with is incredible. Being able to get a clean, crisp look at the stitches like that, when it's knitted and this small, these are size 2s. This is the sock. I'm clearly not done with it. I like short socks, so this is not what you're used to when you're used to seeing a hand knit sock. But this is holding up really well to being thrown in and out of my bag because I am not an organized knitter. This just goes in my purse when I know I'm taking it with me. So it gets beat up. You know, this falls out in the parking lot. It falls out when I'm digging for my wallet. And this still is pristine. I cannot wait to wash this and see how this sock fluffs up. Again, if you're a knitter, you work with hand-dyed yarn, you know the yarn changes when you wash it. So, here's my thoughts on Nerds with Needles. I love their colorways. I love their names. Everything is based upon nerdy themes or fantastic-y fantasy style themes or TV shows. And I love their names. I love their color choices. And I really enjoy the fact that they embrace the fact that they are nerds and they run with it. They also sent me, and I was very careful to put these back on here. Y'all be proud of me. I've not lost them yet. They sent me stitch markers. Now, as a fiber crafter, you know that stitch markers are critically important. Come on, camera. To be able to track what you're doing and where you are on your piece that you're working on. These are really lightweight. They're not heavy. They're not going to pull on your project. I was using them on the sock until I didn't need stitch markers anymore because now it's organized on the needles. But I think that if you are a yarny of any description, you need to hop over to their website and you need to do yourself a favor and order some yarn because it is night and day different from what you can get in a standard craft store. And if you shop your local yarn stores, then you know what I mean when I say there's a difference. There is a huge difference. And I'm not going to lie. I am a yarn snob. I have been since I was a very young age. I was lucky enough to grow up in a family that raised sheep. We spun yarn. So I've been from fuzzy little critter to finished product. And there is nothing quite like the quality you get with the handmade, hand-dyed yarns. So go check them out. Treat yourself to a skein of yarn. If you're ordering the sock weight, which is my preferred weight, one skein will make 2 socks or a scarf. If you're planning a larger project than that, get more than one. Because if you're planning a larger project, I do recommend you order as much yarn as you're going to need at one time. Because in the dyeing process, when you're hand dyeing, colors will shift. Spacing of colors will shift. So go order yourself a bunch of yarn so you can open the package and squeeze it, because that is the first thing anybody who's a yarny does. You open the package, you take your yarn out, you squeeze it, and then you snuggle it because you want to see what it feels like. And that's the most honest representation is the skin on your face. So go shopping, go buy yarn. This is an incredible high quality yarn. I am blown away. And now I am going to go wind those 2 skeins into balls so I can get in trouble with them. Bye, darlings.